Hi, I'm Lizzie and this is Lizzie Reads and welcome to my very first TBR MASH. Thought of an excellent editing Lizzie's going to kill me. I just feel like this doesn't make any sense. Literally that's all I know. Literally that's it. Quite a lot of TBR games out there and I love them. I love watching them. I find them so fun. The challenge element and everything just seems so exciting and I've really wanted to do one for a really long time. However, I haven't yet. I haven't got around. Can people not be so loud? Thanks. And I've been thinking of, like, I've had a few ideas and then I've looked it up and it turns out someone else has already done it. I was pondering and then I found one that I am almost certain that nobody does. They didn't when I made it the other day anyway, and that is TBR MASH. Just a quick intermission to say that although at the time of filming and making this TBR game I thought I was the only person, I thought I was the only one to have come up with it, I actually did some more research and realised that what I was searching into YouTube didn't pull all of the results, and Chloe from Persistent Bookworm actually has already done this TBR game and has been doing it for a couple of months, and I thought I'd let you know that because obviously you might want to check her TBR game out. It is much more organised and it's very cool. So I'll link that down below, but I didn't know that at the time of filming. So I just thought I'd let you know that she has done a version of this, and albeit probably a much better version. So yeah, I just thought I'd let you know that this isn't an original idea, even though I thought it was, which is fine because I've spoken to her. So I will pop the link. I'll pop her link in the description so you can check that out. And you might think, oh, what's MASH? You might immediately know what it is, but you might not. And it might be called another name to you, or you might have never played it. If you never played it, I'm sorry that your childhood was lacking. But there is a game called MASH which we used to play when we were kids, and MASH stands for mansion, apartment, shed or shack and house. And basically it is your future predicting game. Flexible game, there's lots of different categories, but it predicts certain aspects of your future. So for example, the person you are going to marry, how many kids you might have, where you're going to live, what car your car you're going to have, and people would, you would tend to put in 2 good ones and 2 bad ones. So for example, you might put your like crush at school, your favourite celebrity crush, and then 2 like people that you don't want to marry at all, you're not even interested in. It was a little bit of a situation, but sometimes you put 4 people you completely liked. And then I just thought of an excellent punishment for if I don't finish my TBR. And then you would put things like 1 children, 2 children, 35 children, things like that. It'd be a bit crazy, and it'd be who you're gonna end up with. The idea is that you draw lots and lots of circles until someone says stop. Then you draw a line through with your eyes closed, and then however many how many times the circles cross the lines is how many times you're counting for. And then say for example your number was 7, you would count from the starting at the M that you've written for MASH, and then count through all of the categories, and the one you land on, cross it out, and you keep going and you keep going until you have 1 in each category left. If you're not familiar with the game, I will talk you through a bit more in my playthrough. I have already played the game. Am I explaining it enough? If I'm not, editing Lizzie's going to kill me. I just feel like this doesn't make any sense. Does it make any sense? I don't know. I'm going to play the game is I am going to keep the letters MASH, well, MASH, and instead of them representing a house or a building, I am going to pick 4 books off my physical TBR each month and put those in there, and 4 random books, 4 books that I think I might not get to otherwise, and just this, you'll see in a moment the books that I picked this month, so I'll introduce you to those always. And then I've got 4 other categories. So in my first category I have the booktuber category, and this I have got a stack of cards with all booktubers, and I have put some booktubers, all booktubers that I like and watch. I'm going to add to these. I've still got so many that are not in my pile that I want to add to. And the idea is that for each booktuber I pick a, so once I've got my last booktuber, then I will use that and go onto their channel and look at either a favourites video or a recommendations video and find a book that they really talk highly of and really enjoy, and add that to my TBR. Ideally one that I've got on my TBR already. Most of them there's crossover because where else would I get my recommendations from? So that's how the booktuber category works. And then the next category is genre. Then we have the genre category, and they're just lists of genres. Some of them are super specific. I wanted it to be genres and tropes, but at the moment we're just genres. I only did a small amount of cards for the first round, just because I wanted to see how well it worked before like using all my nice coloured paper to make cards. So genres, so things like sci-fi, fantasy romance, I've even got classics. I've included like a couple of subgenres of my main favourites, so like political fantasy romance, sports romance, things like that, just because those are my most common genres, and you know, that's what we're doing. That's just my game, my rules, okay? And then the next category is the length, like the page number cards, are things like under 500 pages, over 500 pages, 150 to 200 pages, things like that. Some of them are really specific, some of them are really broad, like long, short, medium. Some of them are things such as longest book on your TBR, shortest book in TBR. That one's very self-explanatory. It just gives me, it's very open-ended and very general. And then in my last category I have random. So these are all random prompts, and these are like what you would usually get for prompts. So I've got things like this colour on the cover, this number, random number generated pages. Actually I think that one's in the pages category. Anyway, book you've been putting off. They're all really random and all fun, and I thought it would add a little bit of dimension to it. So essentially at the end I get 5 books on my TBR. Ideally I'd like these to all be on my physical TBR, but they won't always be, because I can't always fill a category on my physical TBR. However, the idea is that to find something within my TBR, so even if it's my wider TBR, it's something that I want to read anyway. Like, I'm trying not to go like out of my way to find a book to read that's not there will be punishments if I don't complete my TBR, but I will go into that in the next video because I hadn't refined the final details yet. And yeah, we'll see. And the punishment depends on the amount of how badly I fail, basically. That's what I'm sort of thinking. It's a very work in progress kind of TBR game, but I think it's going to be fun, and I'm hoping that I get really into it and it really works for me, because it gives me 5 books on my TBR, and then the idea is to mood read the rest of my TBR / commitments, things like that, and it's not too much of a struggle and still a bit of a game. Then I might need to add some higher stakes to it as time goes on, because at the moment it seems quite achievable. Looking at it though, actually, is quite, looking at my TBR over there, because I know what it is. So next thing you'll see is the playthrough, and then afterwards I'll come back and talk to you about the books I picked, because I can't do it as I go, because you kind of need to play the whole game to get the vibes. It's a bit sketchy, the angle's a bit sketchy. I need to There's so many finer details that I need to refine, but fingers crossed it goes. Let's talk about my MASH books quickly because I forgot to tell you about those. First of all, the book for M is Close to the Edge by Toby Faber. This is a thriller I've had on my TBR for a really long time. It's an arc that's overdue. And then for my A, we've got The Secret Guest by B.W. Black. This is a historical fiction book about the Queen and her sister, I think. Then for S, we've got Angel Mage by Garth. Literally, I picked it up because on the front it says, Nick sets the standard for fantasy, and it's a quote by Lee Bardugo. And then for my H, I've got Homegoing by Yar Jassy. And just because I've realised that some of these match up letters, it's not supposed to be letters of the alphabet. Because, well, I don't know if I've got enough MASH books to do each month. Really, to be honest with you, I really don't think I do. Let's spin through the setup of this game and what prompts I ended up with, and me adjusting the lighting constantly because I still wasn't sure how things were going to work. And also I shuffle through each category before laying the cards down, so then I can see I have the freshest category. Obviously I'll exclude this month's prompts from next month's game, so it gets a bit more spread out. But let's start with, we've got How to Train Your Gavin, Wandering Through Worlds, Bookish Realm, and Mina Reads for my booktube prompts. So I will end up picking a book from one of these guys' channels, or one of their favourite books and things like that. And then for the genre category, we are ending up with non-fiction, literary fiction, fantasy romance, and contemporary. I'm quite pleased with most of these, except maybe literary fiction is one that I tend to put off, but we'll see how the cards play and what the MASH gods will predict us. Then we have shortest physical, medium, random number, and longest physical for my length prompts. And then for my random and sort of generic prompts, we have colourful, book with art, whimsical, and newest. So these are a great set of prompts and lots that I'm looking forward to. We're just going to quickly run through the MASH books, which are Close to the Edge for M, The Secret Guests for A, Angel Mage for S, and Homegoing for H, because I can't fit them all on the screen, unfortunately. I'm still following around, and then I roll my dice and I get a 1, which doesn't work for the game, so it has to be above a 1. So we're going to roll again, and we end up with 7. So that means I've got to count 7 times in between each turning over of the cards, and then just get straight into the counting, basically, after some fiddling around that probably should have been cut out. But we're voiceovering now, so, and then Bookish Realm goes out, basically, and then until there's 1 left in every single category, that is when we use those prompts to pick our TBR, or my TBR. As you can see here, I did write M on the back of the M card, so it's not very clean, but I will update that for next month because that is really annoying me looking at this. And essentially, once I'm left with 1 card that isn't turned over in each category, as I said 2 seconds ago, I don't know why I'm repeating it, that's the prompt I'll be going for. But it's going to be up to the gods of MASH, as is what I'm going to call them now, the MASH gods, the future predicting MASH gods. And we've already got Mina Reads for booktube, so I'm going to be picking one of their favourite books, or a book they talk about a lot in a second. I'm honestly gutted that contemporary is gone because I have been reading so much contemporary recently. There is a point here somewhere where I have miscounted. I think I've missed it in my voiceover, but I miscount, and then I think it's here. Oh no, it's not. And I kind of changed the trajectory of the whole game, but it's what it is, and we're just going to roll with it. And obviously, you know what's going to happen here. Everybody knows what prompt that I probably won't want. I love short books, and guess what happens? I have to read the longest physical book on my TBR. This will be a better playthrough next month, but let's get into it. So in regards to the prompts that I picked up, my letter prompt was S, so that is Angel Mage by Garth. I have literally no idea what this is about. I just know it's fantasy, and I've heard good things about Garth apparently. So yeah, hopefully this is really good, and I'm really excited to read it. This one, it looks chunky, but the font is massive. My booktuber prompt was Mina Reads, and well, if you don't know Mina, I will link her channel down below, and I'll link the video that I found this book in. I don't actually have a physical copy of it. It is on the way to me, and it has been on my TBR and my wish list for a very, very, very long time, and that is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, I think. And she talks about it in her 2019 best books, because when I went on her channel, she doesn't have a lot of these my favourite books or favourite these videos actually, so it was quite difficult, but I found one in her video, and I know a lot of people love it, and I think that's really good. Then my genre pick, wait, what was it? I can't remember which order it is in now, but my genre pick was fantasy romance, and for that I'm going to use a book I have in Kindle Unlimited and I've wanted to read for a little while, and that is Rhapsodic by, name on screen because I've forgotten, and I believe it's about a woman who owes money, like a fantasy situation debt collector style person. Literally that's all I know, literally that's it. And then the longest book on my TBR is actually one I've started but not made much progress in, and that is A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bryson. I've had this on my TBR also for the longest time, so that's quite annoying. And then last but certainly not least is my newest, so this is the newest book on my TBR, and that is A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I was hoping to read this for whatever-thon, but I didn't get around to it, so I don't know. All I know is that it's spacey with good rep. Like, it's got really good rep in a few different ways. So that's really exciting. And that's it. That is literally my TBR. And then also I do intend to read one more book that I will include in my TBR. It doesn't count towards TBR MASH, but it is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, and I've never read this before. This has been sitting on my shelf for a long time, and I want to know if I'm going to like it, because I feel like I really will. So that's it for TBR MASH. I feel like there's going to be some interruptions, and oh, I missed this, but I want you to know that I think it's going to be good. I think it's good. I think it's going to be even better next month, so please stick around till next month when I've got my bits in gear. Alright then, speak to you later. Thank you so much. Bye. This is so cute. I don't know. Is it one of my reading vlogs if I don't sit here on a Sunday morning looking dishevelled? I'm super emotional, and I don't normally get like watery eyed at books, but